So we start with quote 26. We transform hurtful fears into useful fears by focusing on what we can control, which is spot on. It's spot on, to be honest. That's all I can say. It's absolutely spot on. You can link it to your daily life. The things that you're able to control is probably the present moment and the future that you could create with that present moment. So focus on what you can do in the present moment to guide you towards what you may want in the future. Stop, stop thinking about the past. The past is gone. It's gone. The present is here. Focus on the present and work on your future, and you'll find a sense of purpose in that and happiness and just peace in general. So yeah. Quote 27. We can't stop our parents from dying, but we use the fear to remind us to spend more time with them. Quote 28. As you become more accepting of the fact that we don't truly own or control anything, you find yourself actually enjoying and valuing people, things, and even experiences more. And this is another spot on quote. And what we get out of these last couple of quotes we've read is that emotions are like clouds, they come and go. And the same can be said about thoughts. And when you're able to master being able to direct negative feelings or thoughts into factors that motivate you, you start to realize how much more there is to life, pretty much. You'll gain that motivation that you need to thrive in the things you do. And yeah, pretty much that's kind of what I want to say in general. So we'll move on to quote 29. Pardon the voice crack there. Um, and yeah, our fears are more numerous than our dangers, and we suffer more in our imagination than reality, which is just spot on again. I mean, I have no explanation for it because it's all put in that one quote, but it's spot on. You can get your meaning out of it. Tell me what you get out of it in the comment section. Quote 30. When we learn to stop segmenting experiences and periods of our life and instead see them as scenes and acts in a larger narrative. Don't know if I'm pretty sure I should have more written from that quote. I feel like I've only written half the quote there, but what we can get out of that pretty much is you're the character or you're the author of your life, and not everything is done for a reason. And when you follow Christ, when you follow Jesus, you start to learn that your whole life is kind of a story. It's all set out in a way to, I don't know how to explain it, but don't look at the negative experiences and periods of your life as bad times, or, you know, see them as trials for becoming a better version of yourself, you know. And yeah, that's kind of what I want to explain there. Quote 31. The more we practice looking in the rearview mirror and finding gratitude for the hard times we've experienced, the more we start to change our programming. The gap between suffering and gratitude gets smaller and smaller, and the intensity of our fear in the moments of hardship begins to diminish, which is spot on. And there's multiple examples of this in the Bible. And basically explained it from the last quote is very similar to the last quote. Whatever you go through in the tough times could be building you to a better version of yourself. So be grateful for whatever you're going through, whether tough or good. And yeah, I just want to go back to one of the quotes we read before, which was, our fears are more numerous than our dangers, and we suffer more in imagination than reality. And I feel like, just to explain it, I feel like that can be linked to how society can be at times, with tons upon tons of material goods that people are brainwashed into thinking will make them happy. But in reality, the joy is only it's only, I mean, it's only temporary, to be honest. And yeah, we've all experienced it when you get some new shoes you wanted or clothes you've always dreamed of, you obviously end up noticing a couple of months later after owning that material that that joy that you had when you first got it fades away very quickly. And the feeling of owning that material turns out to be quite meaningless. And once again, you've probably heard this multiple times, but food, what's on that inside, you'll notice your sense of mouth watering for materialistic goods gradually fade away, which is spot on, pretty much. Or 32. It's often said that when the fear of staying the same outweighs the fear of change, that is when we do change. And yeah, that's very true. What you run from only stays with you longer, which is an unbelievable quote because you can link it to a lot of people. That there's a lot of people out there that have dreams that they want to manifest in their lives, but they give up on them so early just because something may have gone wrong, or the circumstances may not have gone their way, and then they get to the ages of 70, 80, retired from the 9 to 5 job that they've been working all their life, feeling miserable. And then they're thinking back to those days. Now, why didn't I go towards that dream that I had? That it was actually possible when you really, really deep it, really think about it. And that's the sad truth for a lot of people these days. And another thing I get out of that is that the more gratitude you have for the tough experiences you experience in life, the less pain you feel, as that has built you into what you are today. And you either take on the challenge and become stronger or shy away into the darkness that holds you. Um, and Jay, Jay, the author of the book, obviously he portrays this with another quote in the book, which is what you run. Well, it's obviously this one. And there's another one where I found what you're afraid of and go live there, which pretty much implies that it's a time where you're out of your comfort zone that you really grow and get stronger um, in different ways anyway, to be honest. So yeah, that's what I want to explain. Quote 34, find what you're afraid of and go live there, which is the quote I was just speaking about previously. So yeah, that's pretty much it there. Quote 35, when we let achievements and acquisitions determine our course, we're living in the illusion that happiness comes from external measures of success. But all too often we find that when we finally get what we want, when we find success, it doesn't lead to happiness, which I was speaking about previously about materialistic goods. You know, it's that joy that you had when you got that thing that you've always wanted. Only puts you in a deeper sense of regret in a way, and you realize you don't really get anything out of external goods. You don't get anything out of it. It might be temporary, the happiness you get, or joy you get, or pleasure you get from it, but it fades away very quickly. So that's just something for people to learn. Quote 36. In the same way, money and fame are only a facade because our search is never for a thing, but for the feeling we think the thing will give us. Which is spot on. The emotions or the pleasure you may get from that thing will fade away very quickly. You'll realize it. And yeah, another thing I want to say is focusing on your achievements or reaching a certain goal with high hopes of reward doesn't always actually get you to where you might have thought, especially mentally. You actually end up in a darker place mentally. At times, there's examples out there of people that have ended up in a worse place mentally, even though they've been supplied with all the things of this world. But if you're not in the right place mentally, all that is absolutely pointless, to be honest. So yeah, another thing I want to say. Quote 37. Material gratification is external, but happiness is internal. Quote 38. More than ever, popular culture celebrates the pursuits of success. TV shows aimed at adolescents focus more on image, money, and fame than in the past, which is a sad truth, to be honest, in modern society. When we work with the conviction that what we do matters, we can live